if you're the creator you like ወይም ደግሞ the like content creator you like አንድ አይነት ከሆነ feedback የሚያገኙት you need to find a different content creator like at least a certain level of conflict ሊኖር ይገባል ብዬ አስባለሁ in the comment section
I agree
እና echo chamber ከሆነ በኋላ
comment section lovely ነው እንደዛ ከሆነ
colorful it is they come with color
layered,
we respect it we love it
እነዚህ በአጠቃላይ ይሄ
that motivated the world to do horrific things
yeah
I'm great speakers ናቸው
yeah I would say that ሲቀጥል ደግሞ he should be able to understand his audience better like specifically audience ምን መስማት እንደሚፈልግ ማወቅ አለበት
I was so nervous I couldn't read literally አይታየኝም ምን እንደተጻፈ
it was bad ብለህ ብታስብ እንኳን what was the consequence of how bad it was no so if something happened yes your fears are founded if nothing happened maybe we reconsider the fears welcome back to another installment of the Netsanet Podcast
with Salata and Zion. Today we have Bojack/Kaaleb with us. We're going to be talking about በእንደልቤ segmentation ላይ about poetry nights around the city, and then Netsanet segmentation ላይ we're going to be talking about public speaking. Yes, this is going to be an exciting one.
እሺ you ምንድነው you are irregular at ግጥም ሲጥም ማለት እንችላለን
was
what happened
yo class happened
okay
እና typically busy ስለመሆን አይመቸኝም በተለይ ደግሞ Wednesday night አድርገውታልና በሮብ ማታ ላይ ማንም
መቼ ነበር ቅዳሜ ነበር
I was Thursday night
okay ከቅዳሜ በኋላ ነው አይደል Thursday night ድሮ ፈንድቃ የነበረ ጊዜ before it became ግጥም ሲጥም I think
ፈንድቃ ሳይሆን atmosphere ነው የማውቀው
I know predate ያረጋቸዋል ሁለቱንም ፈንድቃ ያለ used to be poetic Saturdays where people would just go there እና አሁን ያለን ያለው open night less formal በሆነ ማለት ነው people ይሄዳሉ መዘከባሉ perform ያደርጋሉ ብዙ ጊዜ invite ተደርጌ ካለኩባቸው ቦታዎች actually
why
it just so happened I didn't used to go anywhere it's like 6 years ago ምናምን 2018 ከዛ other forms ያዘ ሄደ I think into the city ግጥም ሲጥም I think ከነ በረከት ጋር ነው ማውቀው በረከት ያኔ እነሱ jealous is somebody on Twitter so for the people
not just somebody on Twitter but you know.
That's how I know him
okay
that's how the ግጥም ሲጥም መሄድ የትንክ የሆነው እኔ በዛ ነው እኔ ሄድኩት for the first time so it used to be mosaic ነበረ atmosphere በፊቱ branch ነበረ አሁን በቅርብ ደግሞ እንትን ነበር ስሙን ጥራው ሽፍታ ነበረ ከሽፍታ በፊት I think we've been to posta ቤት one time
posta
ከዛ በኋላ
ነበራቸው ግጥም ሲጥም
መጣ ነበር posta ቤት
እኔ typically ሽፍታና atmosphere ነው እና አንዳንድ ጊዜ ደግሞ they had like random የሆኑ ኢቨንቶች ይኖራቸዋል የሆነ ጊዜ ዘዋ ነበራቸው እና እኔ ቲኬት ሰጥቶኝ ነበር so I just went there ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ ጊዮን የሆነ ኢቨንት ነበር
yeah
ዜማ መዘክር ነው መሰለኝ
I'm not sure
I think so እዛ ላይ ኢቨንት ነበራቸው ግን relatively those events Saturday ላይ ያሉት they're not as engagement የላቸው
okay
they're regular opportunities
regular poetry nights ላይ ምንድነው like ሰዎች ይመጣሉ poems የሚያቀርቡ ሰዎች there would be a list አይደል ከዛ ሊስት ላይ certain section ይደረግና maybe a section of 4 or 3 ከዛ እነሱ ሰዎች perform ያደርጋሉ the other people የሚያስታውሷቸው በጣም የሚወዷቸው ግጥሞች አሉ አንዱ ባንዱ inspired ሆኖ ሲገጥም ታያለ and what not I think you've performed a few times as well
Yeah.
Atmosphere like it was amazing to watch but great artists ነበሩ as well as poets እና አንደኛ ሁሉም they're very vulnerable in that area and they support each other even if the poetry was not that amazing when your voice cracker ያረግም ቢሆን everybody there to support you and it's amazing to watch
yeah
how was it for you was it like performing
I didn't like performing like I was someone Yenny bio basically me though I write recite and record what I observe from life suffering ነው እና typically performance is not in my was not in my vocabulary እና ካምፓስ ነበር አንዳንድ ጊዜ ነው ኢቨንቶች ሲኖሩ ዝም ብላ አቅርብ ይሉኝና አቀርባለሁ I didn't enjoy them as much እና there was this event ጳውሎስ ውስጥ የፔዲያትሪክስ ዋርድ ለማሰሪያ ፈንድሬዘር ኢቨንት ነበር ኦፕን ማይክ እና it was a virtual እንትን ላይ ነበር ክለብ ሃውስ ላይ ነበር ከዛ ያኔ I was first exposed to ሰይፈተማ የግጥም ሲጥም one of the formers of ግጥም ሲጥም በዛው I reached out I performed ያኔ እንደውም እና በዛው I reached out እዛ ግጥም ሲጥም ገብቼ ማለት ነውና it's yeah we will have you as a performer next time just come now and now when I first performed I felt like I've been doing it for a long time and the environment was very good
yes
ጥሩ ሰሚዎች ነበሩ in many ways and yeah it was brilliant
okay
I remember one of his poets like I'm not going to say which one it's just very intriguing ነበርና የሱ poetry ሁሌ ባዳመጥኩት ቁጥር አንደኛ his voice አሁን ደግሞ እዚህ እንደምሰሚው አይደለም in that area ደግሞ በጣም ነው የሚሰማው from corner to corner and then his poetry itself ደግሞ layered ናቸው ማለት አንዱን አዳምጠሽ there's so many perspective you can come out with it ማለት ነው so እሱን ስታዳመጪ you have to pause in your head ማለት ነው pause አድርገሽ ስትመለሺ he's already on the next level of yeah I don't know how to keep up with you every time I hear your poetry it's just so layered so intense
do you have TikTok
yeah again
for your poetry
the copyright system that TikTok ላይ አለ it's my biggest up in
ለምን
ቴክኖን ያደርግብኛል የሆነ የምጠቀማቸው ኦዲዮዎች ቲፒካሊ they are copyright flagged ናቸው ግን they're not necessarily የሚከለከሉ አይደለም በፌር ዩዝ መጠቀም ቻለሽ ግን the rule is not as flexible ለምሳሌ YouTube ላይ it's easier for me to release even copyright ቢኖረው it's alright እንትን ይፈቅዳሉ እነዚህ
as long as there's something added to it
yeah ስለዚህ አድ ስለማደርግበት ችግር የለውም Instagram is getting better ግን እሱ ራሱ በጣም አዝግ ነበር to be honest Instagram በጣም ስለሚያዝገኝ I typically started doing a slow ማድረግ አለ ሳውንዶችን I use this tool called Audacity ከዛ ለስሎው አደርገውና ሳውንዱን I do my voice over እና ያኔ ካች ስለማያደርጉት I can basically evade
you could do the same thing on TikTok
TikTok yeah it needs effort and I'm a lazy motherfucker to be honest with you በዛ ምክንያት no ግን hopefully like if I can take some time to engage clip አድርጌ ምናምን ቢሆን I would start
ወይ በጀም ለኔ ስትደባከን ጀምሮ because like layered ስለሆነ like dissect አድርገሽ ስትጨርሺ እሱ like
you need to pause and listen okay ለዛ ነው የጠየቅኩት
I installed that app like 6 ወር በፊት ምናምን and I forgot to install it
so that's TikTok
yeah
okay
like in yakil for some reason the only thing you've invested
in it's fine Telegram ላይ group ክፈትና
Telegram ላይ ቻናል by the way
አለ
yeah
add me to it I want to see your poetry በስነስርዓት dissect ማድረግ ፈልጋለሁ
yeah sure
ደግሞ ደስ የሚልሽ እሱ ሲያነብ most of the time his voice changes according to the emotional rate he's going so almost ታየዋለሽ which part of him was intense which part of him is calm and just explaining the process he went through to get to that stage and it's so interesting
thank you
did you okay before we go further I wanted to mention so ግጥም ሲጥም አሁን ሽፍታ ነበር አይደል recently and ሽፍታ recently closed down ስለዚህ we're just አሁን we're going to have to find another place ማለት ነው I'm guessing
transfer ተደረገ እየተባለ ነው I'm hoping it's I don't know እየተባለ ነው ያልኩት
okay I would love to know where and because of the open mics obviously
yes
ሁለት ግን because ሌላ የሚደረጉ ነገሮች የሉም in the night time where something to enjoy ማለት በቃ ዘፋኞች already ሁሌም አሉ ወደፊትም ይኖራሉ ነገር ግን like እንደዚህ አይነት ናይቶች they kind of take you የሆነ ከተለመደው experience ውጪ ነው አንድ ሁለት ደግሞ it's a community እና community የሆነ space ላይ ሲገናኝ ምናምን it feels good አንቺ ማብረሻቸው ለመዋል ለመነጋገር ምናምን it's really good አዲስ የመጡ መጽሐፍትን ያሳያሉ fellow artistoችን support ያደርጋሉ እንደነገርኩሽ እርስ በራሳቸው ኢንስፓየር ስለሚደራረጉ it kind of feeds each other እና
ደግሞ ሽፍታ was always the it place ሄደሽ you always find and ቀደም ያልሽው community ነው ሁለተኛ ደግሞ ሳታስቡ you find your idols inspirations and people you're a fan of just chilling and hanging out with their friends and almost like humanize ያደርጋቸዋል from that ideal you already have them and then in person ተዋወቅሻቸው ስታናገራቸው ደግሞ all of a sudden you see a perspective in them that you admire ጭራሽ ማለት ነው ሽፍታ ገራሚ ቦታ ነው I hope it comes back
I think it will definitely come back it's just a matter of time and የሆነ ሌላ sitting የሆነ space ከማግኘት አንፃር considering they've been working for like 5 years አሁን I think they can easily come back ግን አይታወቅም you never know about these things the thing I wanted to mention about Shifta is open mic እንዳለ ሆኖ like a lot of DJs started there like the DJs we know Johannes I forgot her name there's a few people አሁን በደንብ ምናያቸው like
their first stage is ነበረ
yeah their first ብቻም ሳይሆን somebody who was supporting the art kind ስለሆነ Johannes ማራናታ it's been that kind of place and now የተዘጋ ቀን we went there ምናምን it was a full weekend of celebrations ነገር before they closed down no it was amazing we had fun
the thing I will never forget about Shifta is up and coming artists መጀመሪያ perform የሚያደርጉበት place ነበረ and now there was this artist በጣም TikTok ላይ famous ሆኖ and then እዛ perform ያደርገና ዘፈኑ ሁሌ አይገባኝም ነበር lyrics I'll tag it አሁን እርግጠኛ ስላልሆነ ሆንኩ ነው ስሙ ብቻ he explained lyrics ከየት እንደመጣ why he said the words he said and it's not from a hateful place but it's more of an accepting of rejection type of place and not to actually be that personally close to somebody you ማለት TikTok ላይ ተዋወቅሽው ወይም ዘፈኑ ብቻ የምታውቂው to actually explain the lyrics specifically to you it's such an amazing thing
Yeah, it was very intimate as well. We've seen Ras perform there. Yes. We've met a lot of
myself performing there.
We have? He's performed there? I don't remember. I know because they're already associated with Maranatha. Their music is usually available there. I've seen the closing day. I've seen Jambaro, I think, and the DJs I've mentioned. The comedy teams, Sac Central team Nebara. So yeah, we closed down with a last hurrah of sorts.
Wow.
Yeah, my last performance I think August ላይ ነበር መሰለኝ እና there was this guy በስርዓት black metal የሚሰራው ማለት ነው እና black metal ላይ እና instrumental ነው የሚሰራው I think እንደ ነው መሰለኝ ማለት አሁን ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ይኖር አይኖር አላውቅም እና we used to co-run a channel like on paraphernalia ቶት የሚባል አለ because I'm kind of a metalhead እዛ ዘፈን ምናምን ነገር እንልካለን ቻናሉ ላይ እና basically የሆነ ጊዜ he made this album like consistently album ይለቃል and I used one of his voices I used one of his music for voiceover and I was performing it not like the environment is ነበር
okay shout out to your artist what was his name Spectre
yeah
okay
such an interesting name
for a metalhead ደግሞ it's quite calm
exactly a delicate balance between those two
calm let me be honest with you
no I sumun no njimele
yeah
it would be like it will be settled you would hear words numbers expect aragina would
no trust me like አብዛኞቹ metal ስሞች they're hilarious there's a band called Dance Gavin Dance Dance Gavin Dance የሚባል ባንድ አለ
I think I've heard of them
ግን don't listen to them
I know it's not my kind of music
and I feel like with your poetry and your voice it could really align with the rock theme
yeah
can you scream no
no it's like the calm before the storm and his vibe no
it's I know like it's something that I'm experimenting it's something that I experiment by the way and heavy metal poetry ያልኩ አንዳንዴ like አሁን በተለይ in my recent videos I try to do this raspy like ድምጽ ይሁን እና it can work ግን the issue with screaming በጣም ያማል ከምታስቡ በላይ እና to do it in a consistent and more rhythmic way በጣም ከባድ
that was my question thank you I'm happy እንትን ስሙን ጠረም ሄሊ ፓራሞር ውስጥ የነበረችው ሄድባንግ አርጋ so like ቦኖቿ እንትን ቅርጻቸው ተቀይሮ so
mind you Paramore is not really that hardcore
I know
there's way worse
thinking like metal bandoች ታዲያ ምንድነው የሚሆነው so because like ኔኮ አንገቷ ውስጥ ያለው curvature ተለወጠ because she headbanged so much
yeah that's punk like that's like the pop version of metal
it's fine. I'll just use my backbone.
ግን በዛው ልክ ደግሞ በጣም ኤክስፐሪመንታል የሆነ ጆንር ነው። ስለዚህ it can typically like የሆነ እንደምታስቡት ዴዝ ምናምን እንትን ላይሆን ይችላል። አሁን ሜሎዲክ የሆኑ ኤክስፐሪመንቶች አሉት። ኢቭን ራሱ R&B ቮካሊስቶች ምናምን ጨክን ያሉት እዛ ላይ like this guy belongs in R&B የምትይው like metal band ላይ ያለፈታ ብሎ
recently found out there is a certain type of music metal hono hardcore hono made for people who are not mentally stable. In the worst case, I told us on list.
No. What do you mean? What type of what type of mental
literally the lyrics are made for people who want to unalive themselves. And not metal heads hono who are looking suicidal. For የሆኑ ሰዎች I'm trying not to say that word. እና እሱን የሚፈልጉ ሰዎች ሊሪክሱ ለዛ ስፔሲፊካሊ የተጻፈ genre of rock መጥቷል።
ቋንዴ I know this will come out wrong. There's no way of this coming out right. Again, like, what is the aim here? To stop them or to support? Which direction are we going?
ማለት it depends. አንዳንዴ እኮ when people provoke you to do something እሱም የሚያቆምሽ ኬዞች አሉ. And on the other side ደግሞ people telling you to stop ደግሞ የሚገፋፋሽ አለ.
It's good to forget about it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not an expert. ግን it's
forget about
like ስልሽ አንዳንድ ጊዜ የምትሰሚያቸው ነገሮች completely የሚያስረሳሽ ከሆነ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር just forget about it. Get your head off it.
I don't think
because when you think too much about it can mess with you.
I don't think it's a whole playlist specifically made for people who are looking to unalive themselves እና በጣም ስለገረመኝ ነው with that type of music and then that type of lyrics to associate with that type of genre. It's like let's go dark and darker አይነት vibe ነው የሚሰጠው.
And it can be gimmicky. So more and more people ገብተው like edgy ለመሆን ሲሉ ወደዛ እንትን ሊያደርጉ ይችላሉ. It's almost like emo ማለት ነው basically.
Yeah. It's not because technically it's literally triggered to that area. አሁን ለምሳሌ I think emo መጀመሪያ ሲጀምር emotionally unstable people ነበር አይደል?
ግን listen to አሁን የሊል people lyrics ብትሰሙ it's like oh my days. I mean I enjoy Lil Peep or like I enjoy
Should we be worried?
Nah, tell you, like if I show you the lyrics I listen to one, you're just going to be like, yeah, ምንም ችግር የለበትም.
እሺ
ነፃነት ሴግመንት ልትይ ነው?
alright, Lil Peep.
Not a huge fan.
I enjoy አልክ በቃ እኮ
yeah, like ከሰሞት ይመቸኛል እና ገባ
እሺ judgment aside, since he was already touching upon it, we are going to be discussing into public speaking በአማርኛ ምንድን ነው? ውጪ መናገር
I feel like comment section እና መስማታችን አይቀርም so we can wait.
የመድረክ ላይ ንግግር ሊሆን ይችላል ግን በስሞል ስቴጅ እንትን
okay, that makes sense. እሺ የመድረክ ንግግር ለማድረግ ለምሳሌ do you think you have experience መጀመሪያ in public speaking?
Just speaking? I would rather not. There's no place I want to
voluntarily
there's a lot of places there's a lot of things I'd rather do than be on public speaking. ምክንያቱም I'm not really that organized ለመናገር ምን ለማለት obviously presentation ሊኖር ይችላል ወይ የምታቀርቢው ቶፒክ ሊኖር ይችላል ግን generally speaking host ማድረግ ምናምን or just generally TED Talk type of speeches I would rather not, to be honest with you.
Why not?
I don't know, I just don't enjoy it. But I'm structured በሆነ መንገድ ስለሆነ መቀረብ ያለበት and because I don't like because የሆነ ስለሚዘል ጭንቅላቴ ከዛዚህ I don't enjoy it typically.
Okay.
Do you defense ትዝልሻል? I think most of us can relate to defense. Graduate ስታደርጊ ፔፐርሽን ዲፌንድ ለማድረግ on stage ቀርበሽ present ታደርጊያለሽ to the class or
COVID batch. No defense.
Oh, okay. In your defense number. And so that's when I learned if you're focused on what you're saying instead of the people around you, it can help you. I discovered Lenny personally. I was focused in trying to explain the paper, and for a minute there, I completely forgot all the ice in the room. That helped. So, bezasat what ahun lemanim so recommend marago is being focused on trying to explain this topic will help, and not being comfortable in what you're wearing. Marisa,
I have a question. What happens with all the eyes in the room?
They're at you, like they're looking at you. Now you have to keep eye contact. No, Gabtosha?
You don't have to keep eye contact. Let's keep it pushing in that.
No,
even if you did, what would happen?
Presence የሚባለው
you have to do it with everyone. ሁሉም ሰው ጋር ነው አሁን የሆነ ነገር የተናገርኩ I can't just look at you እሷን ሳላይ እሷን ሳለ even ራሱ የምታዳምጠኝ ከሆነ ማለት ነው you have to be able to look at everybody
exactly good stage performance የሚባለው when you keep eye contact ነው
I know I'm trying to explore like the worst aspects of it and I'm okay I can stare any person down it's fine ግን the point
I want to have your
like,
superpower
it's not a superpower
my question ምንድነው
that's what I'm trying to explore
አሁን if I have to do it እኮ ነው I'll do it just አልፈልግም እንጂ ማረግ ካለብኝ አረጋለሁ presentation ካለ I volunteer even ራሱ ክላስ ውስጥ ምናምን because ምንድነው it's just simple you like የምትይው ነገር ትናገራለሽ you stick to the basics ከዛ በኋላ mannerismሽን ምናምን fix up ታደርጊያለሽ ግን a lot of people irrational and fear ናቸው
that's what I'm trying to ask about
እሱ ደግሞ it's ራሱን የቻለ topic ነውና there are people who even take medication stage fright እንትን avoid ለማድረግ ነው
irrational fear no most of the time
irrational fear actually I don't think most of the time ለማለት irrational fear መውሰድ የምንችል አይመስለኝም because like one I've had these conversations አሁን ለምሳሌ you and I have been friends for a long time you weren't the type to have this a thing አይደል ግን when we did talk about it eventually ምንድነው ያልሽው it doesn't make sense for me to avoid it this much no eventually
አሁንም እኮ the fear has vanished አይደለም it's just you learn by the end of the day there are more important things that I have to consider than my fear no
okay ለምሳሌ
አሁን ለምሳሌ I like ነፃነት and where it's going I like the topics we're raising I like that the direction we're going also has financial benefits
okay
so because of that my fear comes second hand no no for the longest time my confidence ሸፍኖ ማወራበት ጊዜ እንደነበር መቼስ አይደበቅም a lot of people አሁንም የሚሉት ነገር ነው it comes from fear እኮ አሁንም አለ ግን by the end of the day I value things more than my fear የሚለው specifically ለኔ የሰራ ነገር ነው
okay
ግን I've learned that for most people the idea of standing on stage and their fear and conquer ማድረግ is not as easy as just you want to get over it የምትይው ወይም it's just a delusion I know I'm not saying you're saying that a lot of people እንደዛ ስለሚሏቸው I'm just trying to explain in their behalf that's not the case እሱ ብቻ ሳይሆን የሚያስቀሽ part the ideas you have in your head will lead you to make more decisions than the reality
yeah
እና እሱን time and time again ስለምናይ even in public speaking case irrational fear-አችን conquer ማድረግ it's not an easy thing irrational የሚመስለን ለኛ ነው because we have settled down and calmly explain እያደረግነው ነው በዛ ሰዓት ግን the fact that you can tell if it's rational or irrational እየቀነሰ
while experiencing
yes በዛ ሰዓት you think it's a complete possibility it's definitely gonna happen and how do I deal with it የሚለው ራሱ ከanxietyሽ ጋር ሲደባለቅ deal with it point ላይም ላደርሽ ይችላልሽ so I think that's what happens for most people who have issues with public speaking
okay my question still stands what happens when people stare at you
nothing happens in the same token አሁን ጨለሞስ
እየጨመረ ይሄዳል ነው እኮ
ጨለሞስ ብትገቢ ምንም አትሆኚ ግን you think that there's this dookie monster that is going to attack you or ደግሞ የሆነ claustrophobic የሆኑ ሰዎች የሆነ እንትንስ ግድግዳው ስለሚጠጋል it's irrational that's basically why phobias exist and now obviously you have there are methods of like handling phobia ግን a phobia is a phobia ultimately የሆነ የምትፈሪው ነገር ካለ ትፈሪያለሽ that's it
yeah it's not a logical thing nothing could happen by people looking at you nothing would change biologically ምንም አይለወጥም by nature however the fear itself again ውስጥሽ ያለውን chemicals ይለውጡታል and because of that how you respond ይለወጣል to that situation
yeah I'm trying to point the things out I completely understand I'm not sure if phobias are being defined for the first time here what I'm trying to point out is if you're going to speak in public there are things to consider አይደል consider እያደረግናቸው step by step እንድንሄድ ነው ለምሳሌ okay people are staring at me then they are staring at me አይደል ቀጥሎ like what you need to do is prepare ቅድም እንዳላችሁት when you're prepared and now when you have something to say እሱ ላይ focus ስታደርጊ ሲጀመር ሰዎችም የመጡት እሱን ለመስማት ነው I think that also puts you in the opposite direction what if I don't say anything የሚለውን ነገር እንድታጠፊም ይረዳሻል of course that's even scarier what if the things I'm saying is not of value የሚለው ደግሞ ይመጣል ከዛ ደግሞ ትመለሻለሽ so what if it's not you know what I mean ከዛ እንዴት ነው እንዲያልሽ እየተመላለሽ you consider a lot of things ለማለት ነው ያን ጥያቄውን ያነሳላችሁ ማለት ነው so the next thing is since anti-defensive I think that's the more memorable one what other than how you present ወይም ደግሞ I also think how you perceive other people also could be an issue.
Yeah.
When right?
Yeah.
So if you always find that one when you have conversations with people, if you're focused on them more than you are focused on you assume other people also do the same thing. I think you position yourself in an observer and listener space more. ከዛ በኋላ ሌሎችም ሰዎች እንደኔ exactly ያደርጋሉ የሚል ሐሳብ ይኖራል። ሁለተኛ how many people that like እያፈጠጡበት ራሱ ምን ያህል uninterested they are forget እናደርጋለን። like if you're ለምሳሌ in a class of 40 kids I know like if I get 5 kids to listen like to actually listen it's a win. ግን ይሄ this is something I had to learn ነገር መጀመሪያ ልክ እንደገባሽ ሁሉም ተማሪ የሚሰማሽ ነው ይመስልሽ it's you think if you make eye contact with them ምናምን they would suddenly be interested ምናምን that's not going to happen. like some people are zoned out, some people are like not interested, some people are not there to even see you, they just በዛ አለ ስለተባለ የመጡ ሰዎች ይኖራሉ። now you have to also consider not everybody is going to how do I put this be እንዳንተ self critical እንደሆንከው እነሱ they won't be as critical of what you're saying and or doing. and I think that can also help.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. አሁን የምታቀርቢ ከሆነ the likelihood መደምጥሽ እዛ የተቀመጠው ምናልባት ኔሴሲቲ ሆነበት ነው። አሁን እኛ ጋር ሲምፖዚየም አለ every module. Bro, like a symposium is so የሌላ group if I'm forced to attend ቁጭ ብዬ ስልኬን ተከተልኩ. I have to be honest with you. The next እኔ ደግሞ በማቀርብበት ጊዜ I know like nobody cares. The only person care የሚያደርገው evaluate አስተማሪ ነው. And the only way ደግሞ እሱ ልታደርግ የምችው it's አንደኛ subjective, ሁለተኛ ደረጃ ደግሞ you have to know what you're talking about. There's time to prepare. And now it's more አሁን when we talk about public speaking ቅድም ፎቢያ ቢሜንሽን ያደረኩት it's more of like የሚፈሩ ሰዎች አሉ just generally ያንን እንትን የሚፈሩ አሉ. Other people ደግሞ they're just afraid that they might flunk እንትን flunk አልኩ they might like flunk. ስለዚህ ያንን avoid ለማድረግ ሲሉ they kind of like put themselves in a more like comfort position. ስለዚህ presentation avoid ያደርጋሉ ምናምን ግን ultimately you have to realize that it's simply just talking. እና ፎቢያው እንዳለው ነው just generally speaking ደግሞ የሆነ ሰው እንደዚህ በባልስ so the fuck what at some point የሆነ necessity ካለው you have to do it አለ እና as much as possible necessity የሚመጣበት ጊዜ ስለሚኖር it's a skill worth having. ግን there are ways to practice አሁን እንዴት
that was my next question.
Defense mechanism ተዝልሻል የሰራነው episode where we explained when you're triggered rationalizing and logically explaining it የሚሰራለ ሰው አለ ማይሰራለ ሰው አለ
አሁን for me እንደውም እያሰብኩት ነበር ይሄንን ቶፒክ አነሳሽ በኋላ like አንድ ሰው መጀመሪያ ጊዜ የሆነ ፐብሊክ ስፒክ የሚያደርግበት ሪዝን ሊኖር ይችላል. they might be someone that just might do a TED talk ወይም speech በአጠቃላይ ኮሜዲያኖች አሉ. there are people that perform poetry and there are people that sing. it's part of performance and public speaking is a performance generally. one thing that I learned ምንድነው obviously prepare ማድረግ አለብሽ rehearse ማድረግ አለብሽ ግን if it's your first time and if it's your choice ምንም necessity ከሌለብሽ and if you want to do it go at a place more forgiving የሆነ እንትን forgiving የሆነ audience ያለበት ላይ it doesn't mean like critical የሆነ ሰው ሊኖር ይችላል ግን the more forgiving audience that there is the more likely you're going to present. አሁን ሊለያይ ይችላል አሁን public speaking የሚያቀርብ ሰው he might necessarily have to በደንብ prepare ማድረግ ይኖርበት ይችላል ምክንያቱም the most forgiving audience might not be as forgiving as the other እንትን ግን poetry አሁን ቅድም እንደተባባል ነው people ምናልባት አሁን typically I know that people don't really listen to what I say in a live performance የሚሰሙ ሊኖሩ ይችላሉ ግን it's difficult to grasp ስለዚህ at least make it a performance and not because of that even first time ለዝም ብለሽ ሆነሽ አንበበሽ ብትወጪ nobody cares. oh you have the courage ብሎ ነው የሚያጨበጭብልሽ music ደግሞ you just need to have the talent
እሱ ያለቀ ብላሽ ታጨበጭብበት እንጂ ያለ
ግን something like ሁሉ ጊዜ እንትን ማደርገው which I applaud comedians for by the way is that the most forgiving audience is not may not even be as forgiving as anything ምክንያቱም you might bump ሆነም ቀረም ማለት ነውና if they don't laugh የሆነ deliver አላደረግሽም ማለት ነው እና ያው it's a practice and certain ventures it might need you to have thick skin ከዛ በተረፈ ግን just be able to rehearse what you're going to say የምትይው ነገር specifically okay when you go out to stage look for a more like relaxed audience ያለበት ምክንያቱም once you develop then ከዛ በኋላ harsh የሆነ audience ጋር ራሱ ብትገቢ you can still hold your ground.
Okay, what could qualify the audience as being harsh?
አሁን ለምሳሌ ማዳምጥ audience ያለበት አለ ማዳምጥ audience ያለበት አለ like ማይሰማሽ በቃ አለ like ማይሰማሽ ስልሽ እየሰማሽ መስሎ ማይሰማ አይደለም አሁን እዚህ ጋር ሰው ያቀረበን እና አንቺ ወደ 3 ነው ዝም ብለን ብንወራ and that's like okay you're going to look like a clown exactly those are harsh audiences and like if you don't have prior experience kill them at contention
the
comedian mo ጭራሽ አዳምጦ ራሱ ካልሰቀልሽ አዛር
the walking out I think
the walking out really
they walk out
I've seen a few people walk out I don't think the audience harsh it's not that it's the intent they're listening to you with is an issue I have any personally ለምሳሌ when you're in a comedy stage even I'm ታረግ ቀልል ሊነገር ነው ልትስቂ ነው ካልሆነ ቀልል ሊነገር ነው እናደዳለሁ ብለሽ አይከደም እና like there are people who do come there to be defensive ነገር እንደዚህ እኮ አይባልም I can't believe she said this ወይም ደግሞ I can't believe this person እንደነቀልድ እንዴት ይቀልዳሉ በዚህ ጊዜ ዘመን ነው ይሉሻል
that's why I admire you by the way
that's the point like
that's exactly what most people fear የትኛውም ስቴጅ ላይ ብዙ ጊዜ ስንወጣ ምንፈራው is everything a comedian faces when they go out on stage
that's why I said
ለኛ guaranteed ነው ለሌላ ሰው possibility ነው
thick skin ያስፈልጋል ያልኩት ለዛ ነው አሁን አንቺ የሆነ ሰው እንዴት እንደዚህ ታደርጋለች ነው ብለሽ if you don't give it to us ማለት ነው you're still going to perform
by the way
I do think about it
how can I say this in a proper way even in any performance no matter what the crowd is she will not black out she will say what she has planned to say and still you want to on the stage and then go and
that's good that's really good like that's what you have to do
rationalization works for her
it's here's the thing the reason I want to ask these questions when don't ታውቃለሽ I'm sure like rationalization የሁሉም ሰው top priority ላይሆን ይችላል ግን pointing this out ዛሬ እንኳን ሰምቶት በሚቀጥለው ማን ስለሆነ ነው ግን ማለት የሚል ሐሳብ አንዴ እንኳን ማሰብ የሚችሉበት እድል ካለ I would like to offer that ምክንያቱም እኔ አሁን the reason ያው so performing was never an issue for me ምክንያቱም everything I've done kind of led up to it so I was comfortable even the podcast helped the teaching helps even the school performances the ድሮ የወላጆች ቀን የጨፈርሽባቸው all of them አንድ ላይ ስታደርጋቸው they eventually kind of align and give you the skills enough to be comfortable on stage even when people are not interested no the apathetic group እኔ ለኔ ብዙም አይደለም it's not that as long as you're paying to be here I don't mind don't listen to me it's fine I'll get paid ግን the thing is what I have an issue with is like you know have you noticed how comment sections work
yeah
what is like favorite creatorዎችን ልብ ካልካቸው ማለት ነው if you're the creator you like ወይም ደግሞ the like content creator you like አንድ አይነት ከሆነ feedback የሚያገኙት you need to find a different content creator like at least a certain level of conflict ሊኖር ይገባል ብዬ አስባለሁ in the comment section
I agree
እና echo chamber ከሆነ በኋላ
comment section lovely ነው እንደዛ ከሆነ
colorful it is they come with color we respect it we love it
እንትን ነው ማለት my issue በተለይ YouTube on በማይበት ጊዜ I just cannot watch comment sections
why
ምክንያቱም it's like the same thing ነው regurgitated የሚሆነው
yes
የሆኑ ደግሞ የሆኑ ክሊሼ የሆኑ ኮቶች አሉ ይገባሉ ከዛስ like ደግሞ የሆነ አንቲዶት የሚያስገቡታል እኔ በቃ በዚህ እንደዚህ ማምሬ ራሳቸውን ታሪክ ያስገባሉ
ረጅም paragraph I am invested I
read like አነበውና like
that was wasted my time
that's እንትና I don't like reading comment sections as much ኳስ ላይ I do ግን ያው ኳስ ራሱ የሚቻል እንትን ስለሆነ
ኳስ ላይ ግን እኮ like ኳስ even worse አይደለም like considering how subjective ሰው የሚናገረው
there are some redundant takes like actually redundant takes that makes you block people because of footballing reasons. It's like, I don't want to see this. This is so like, we're not watching the same game.
I have a question
in
for
front
you
of the
guys.
camera.
What is the one topic you would literally can explain publicly for an hour?
An hour?
An hour.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. Depends. Which I would say this.
Netsanet?
Public speaking.
You would speak for an hour about public speaking?
Yeah. The tips and tricks, the ways to go about it. If you really genuinely have a phobia, like ways to mitigate, and like personally, if I'm scared of something, any fight, flight, freeze no any hullum reaction. I go to freeze. So in order to mitigate that, what I do is just act for now. Kaza bahala nasibbetallen. Like just keep it moving however you can. Like it will hurt, it would be painful. Nam kabet mawtat aፈልግም ለሆነ ያህል ጊዜ let's just do it, and it won't be as bad as you think it will be የሚለውን ተስፋ ለራሴ መስጠት ፈልጋለሁ. So like I want to give that to another person as well. So it would be something teaching or this, I guess.
I remember this time በጣም ኖርማል 8ኛ 7ኛ or at least 9ኛ ክፍል as usual present እያደረግን ነበረ. I was so nervous I couldn't read. Literally አይታየኝም ምን እንደተጻፈ. እና that's when I realized okay blackout የሚባል ነገር ለካ አለ. Surprised. እና it shocked the life out of me how far your physical reactions can go with your emotional reactions.
Yeah.
And it took a lot for me to get here. Again, we made it. So I think anything is possible. So that's what I'm saying how your physical response can align with your emotions. Because in your society, I would have better to say.
Yeah, first
it makes no sense.
There's physical explanation. The more emotional limit you get, there's like a direct physical explanation. So if you really see things for the simplicity that it is, handle mark ትችላላችሁ. I agree with that.
You and my so this one time I needed to pull myself together, and the thing I used is, so if you have like fears and not legitimate ናቸው አይደሉም የሚለው መለየት ከፈለክ you would have to look at events. አሁን ለምሳሌ if you've had a presentation ከዚህ በፊት ወይም ደግሞ publicly ተናግረሽ ምታቂ ከሆነ what you'll do is like what happened ያኔ what like ያሰብሽውን የተሰማሽን ምናምን ሳይሆን ሰውም የሰጠሽን ፊድባክ አይደለም ኢቨንቶቹን ብቻ የተፈጠሩት ነገር በታክሲ ሄድኩኝ እዚህ ቦታ በዚህ ሰዓት ደረስኩ እንደዚህ ያደረኩ የሚለውን ሊስት ለማድረግ ለማሰብ መሞከር ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ it was bad ብለህ ብታስብ እንኳን what was the consequence of how bad it was no. So if something happened, yes, your fears are founded. If nothing happened, maybe we reconsider the fears. If you're looking at the events, sometimes it helps kind of ground your thoughts based on reality instead of course how you feel and what you think are also certain aspects of reality. Again, ሌላ ሰው ያይብኛል ሌላ ሰው የሚለው ሐሳቦች ጋር የተያዘ ፊር ያላላቸው ሰዎች I think you can guide your reactions based on what actually happened. ምድር ላይ ምን ተፈጠረ አሁን ለምሳሌ I've done so and so ይሄ ነገር ስለተፈጠረ ይሄንን አጥቻለሁ ይሄን opportunity ተቀምቻለሁ ምለሽ የምታስቢው ነገር ካለ የምር መቀማትሽን ቼክ ማድረግ የምር እነዚህ የፈራናቸው ነገሮች መፈጠራቸውን መልሶ ለማየት መሞከር አይ አልተፈጠረም ከሆነ መልስሽ I guess you can try again. ያኔ ከተማርሽው ነገር ወስደሽ አሻሽሎ መሞከር ነው አለመሻሻል ብፈልጊ ራሱ አቺም ምክንያቱም you've already done it አንዴ.
That's true. What was the topic you'd speak an hour about?
I genuinely don't know.
I was thinking exercising, health.
You can talk about different things. It depends.
He has.
Exactly.
It depends. ማውራት የምትችይው ነገር ሊኖር ይችላል የምትፈልጊበት ነገር ሊኖር ይችላል. At this moment in time, I really don't want to speak about anything.
Why? What happened?
I don't know, I'm just tired. I'm
okay.
resting right now. ስለዚህ
Resting from everything?
No, I just had like the past months በጣም ደክሞኝ ነበር ስለዚህ I'm just resting right now.
Okay.
ለዛ ነበር ራሱ ኢትዮጵያ ያላረኳቸው. Like 2 weeks I was
ተሰምቶኝ ነበረ
like እንደውም ቴክስት ላድርጋት ቢስልኪን ስከፍት ነው I'm not even capping bonus your shot.
me
can we talk about great public speakers because like as I think everybody in this room is a fan of history and we know how much amazing public speakers can literally change the world And how does one get to that point exactly? How do you think one gets to that point?
Yeah, have you watched the movie The King's Speech?
It's a fascinating one.
Highly recommended. I highly recommend that movie. Like he's essentially a king. No, he can't do public speeches. And they would have to dub his speeches ነገር for him to speak. And የሆነ አሰልጣኝ ተቀጥሮለት ምናምን like he was going through it.
It's a very fascinating one.
Skill check it.
በጣም ኢንተርቴይኒንግ ነበር።
ስታተር ስለነበረበት ነው if I remember correctly.
ስታተር ብቻም ሳይሆን he used to get panic attacks and like he couldn't speak in public essentially. So
there was this scene እሱ ላይ that to this day fascinates me. They put marbles in his mouth as much as he can have and ምላስ almost እንዳይንቀሳቀስ and still somehow read ተብሎ and to this day
I loved the teacher.
Yes. He was a fascinating one. And the next thing that actually did work again ያንን ሁላ experience ካረገ በኋላ is የራሱን ድምጽ ሳይሰሙ ማንበቡ. Do you remember that scene? እና ቤት ስትገባ ይሄንን ኦዲዮ አዳምጠው ብሎ ይሰጣል. He recorded him. እሱ his hearing muffled ሆኗል and he just read a statement ማለት ነው. As far as he knows ከህፃነቱ ጀምሮ ስታተር አለበት እና የሚለወጥ ነገር አይደለም. By the time he stopped listening to himself and ዝም ብሎ ማንበብ ሲጀምር ግን he had a consistency and fluency. So ያንን ኦዲዮ ሬኮርድ አደረገውና ቤት ስትገባ አዳምጠው. Clearly I did not mess with this audio and you can understand that how you think about yourself is affecting you. It's not a physical situation that's affecting you. And ቀደም ወደ አለው ፖይንት ላይ ይመጣል. How much our mental state and how imagination affects our reality. በጣም ከባድ ነገር ይመስል በተለይ public speaking ላይ ብዙ ጊዜ የምታዩም ተደጋግሞ is what you imagine of yourself is scarier than what anybody sees around you.
Yeah.
So great speakers?
There's a lot come on ይጀምራል. There's like different types from different spheres. Of mind obviously Fidel Castro.
Okay.
It's gotta be up there. በእኛ ሀገር ውስጥ መለስ ዜናዊ was a great speaker. I hope I don't get cancelled for this again, just in an objective sense. የሚገርም ስፒከር ነው. It's ማለት አሁን ለምሳሌ ነው I watch football ቅድም እንዳልኩ Jose Mourinho was a phenomenal speaker. I don't know, like it's too much እና
ሙሶሊኒ ይባላል አይደል?
ሙሶሊኒ
ሂትለርም እነዚህ በአጠቃላይ ይሄ
that motivated the world to do horrific things.
Yeah.
Some great speakers nacho.
Why would you motivate people to do that shitty stuff?
Oh, how?
በሆነ average በሆነ አነጋገር.
How you can't even manage.
አትችይም.
The only other option is Inception. That's it's a sci-fi movie.
And it takes individuality. አስበሽዋል ሁላ ሰው አንድ ባንድ.
Well, you just have to do one Hitler. The rest will take care of itself. So, what makes a great speaker?
I have to start with the voice.
Okay.
And the charisma ማለት their body language and how they speak. አይደለ?
But like mention ያረግናቸውን ሰዎች ግን ልብ ካላቸዋቸው ማለት ነው there's like a wide range of voices in who we've mentioned. So what do you mean about the voice? It has to be clear ምናምን ነው?
It has to be clear ብቻ ሳይሆን it has to have confidence ነው. It's not even about the tone of voice. It's conviction in what you're saying.
Okay.
And ከዛ ቀጥሎ ደግሞ the charisma you show in the way you speak, in the way you argue. አሁን a lot of politicians አሜሪካ ላይ ስታዩ the ups and lows የሚሄዱት in the way they argue. If they seem rushed, if they seem unaware, almost ignorant ከሆኑ almost instantly notice ታደርጊዋለሽ. I can't trust this man to lead ነው የምትይው. And the minute they have charisma, the minute they have self-awareness and self-assurance, even though what they're saying may seem or is in the is yes, you still manage to have faith in them because the way they say it gives you this idea of he can take control.
So how about you?
ማነቃቃት ትችላለሽ. I think it's very important. በጣም underrated የሆነ trait ይመስለኛል.
Anjis.
The trance. Have you ever looked around like when somebody's speaking, like especially ቅድም poetry ምናምን ላይ ማለት ነው ዞር ብላችሁ ሌላውን ሰው አይታችሁ ታውቃላችሁ? The trance, bro.
ጸጥ የሚልበት
ጸጥ ብቻም ሳይሆን they're just like for a few moments they're taken over በሰውየው በሚያወራው ሰው and then they're like oh this person is doing some this is impressive. ትያለሽ it's not even about landing የሰውየው ንግግር እኔ ላይ መድረስ ምናምን ሳይሆን it's just okay so this person is doing really well at this what are they doing የሚያስብል moment ከሰጠሽ I think that person is a good speaker በዚህ ላይ I think ቅድም እንዳላችሁት the words ምናምን አሁን ደግሞ I think we can also attribute social media እንትንም አሁን ለምሳሌ you know Candace Owens ማነው ጆርዳን ፒተርሰን
yeah by the way Jordan Peterson በጣም unconventional የሆነ speaker
yes but also
like he sounds like Kermit
the trance
yeah ግን
he has the trance
he has the trance what to say and like tonality የሚገርም ነው
yeah
Candace Owens እንደውም አንዳንድ ጊዜ one critique ያለኝ እሷ ላይ sometimes በጣም የሆነ she's so fixated into like proving someone right proving herself right እና በጣም ቶሎ የምታወራበት ጊዜ አለ ግን nonetheless she's a very good speaker so ግን አንዳንድ even እንትናም እንደዛ አይነት ሀቢት አለበት ቤን ሻፒሮም እንደዛ አይነት ሀቢት አለበት ካያችሁት ቶሎ የማውራት ምናምን እና although አንዳንድ ጊዜ benefit ቢያደርግም on the long term you're like okay they're trying to get like as much facts as possible it's more of like argumentative technique than any public speech
I also want to ask yet ነበርሽን ታስታውሳታለች she is amazing she also had people would be like and it would be impressive to watch her talk even if you disagree ምናምን you can recognize what that person is saying is like being well received by audience ብለሽ ስታስቢ I think that's something I've paid attention to እስካሁን and how they clean up mistakes
that's በጣም important
Jordan Peterson አሁን እኔ my favorite bit about him is ማለት ያልፈለገውን ነገር ለማስባል ሰዎች sorry Chomsky ነው the other philosopher there's this language philosophy na language አንድ ላይ አድርጎ የሚያስኬድ ሰው ያለና ማለት ያልፈለገውን ነገር ለማስባል ኢንተርቪውሮች ይሞክራሉ where like ይሄንን ኢምፕላይ ሊያደርግ ይችላል ብሎ ያወራል አይደል ይሄ ማለት እነዚህ በሙሉ ነው እኔ ያልኩት ይልና you know what I mean within a conversation ወይም ደግሞ within having a platform ተሰጥቶሽ when you're discussing an idea ምናምን you naturally make mistakes even ideologies ጋር የማይገናኝ ነገር ልትይ ትችያለሽ or whatever it is you naturally make those mistakes and how you clean up afterwards could also like imply
make it
to
or break it
yeah
now with especially if you recognize it very fast within that speech and Vilesh I'm sorry Vilesh if you can take it back or even if not ማለት ነው
you don't
like
need to say I'm sorry
using the other words I'm getting to
I'm
that.
sorry also team Ross
I'm getting to that like using other words like to kind of dance around what you just did እና ሌሎች ሰዎች ምንም ሳይሰማው ወይም ሳያውቁት ካለፉት it's very impressive to watch
back in high school we used to do አድዋ ፕሌይራይት ተጀምሮ ነበር ይሄ እና የኛ ቲቪ ላይ ራሱ even ቀርቦ ነበር እና I was the Italian እና የሆነ ሰዓት ላይ እያወራች ጣይቱ ጠፋ እንትን ማይኩ and I'm like my ደማስ ማለት ነው ማይኩን ይዤ መብራት ጠፋ እንዲያል ከዛ ሚኒሊክ ሆኖ የሰራው ሰውዬ like I was so impressed at that moment ምክንያቱም ወዲያው ነው አንተ ምን አባው ነው የምትቀባጥረው like እንደ በንጉሱ ኬደንስ ማለት ነው ሰላቶ ምንድነው የሚቀባጥረው ብሎ ማለት ነው መልሶ like it was one of the biggest blunders and I was just back so እንደዚህ ነገሮች even like while performing ራሱ በጣም like አንዳንድ የምሰሰትባቸው ጊዜዎች አሉ የሆነ ጊዜ ጠፋብኝና like ይጠፋብኛል መሳለ የሆነ ላይ
በቃላችሁ ለምንድን ነው
I say the same line እሱ ስላም ፖይንት ነው ራሱ ነው ያለው I say የሆነ ከዛ ፊት ያልኩት ላይን ደግማለሁ የሆነ ትዝ ቢለኝ ከዛ it's just in time ለመመለስ ወደ ሌላኛው I just began to present
ስትጸልይ ጠፋብሽ የለ like ግን ሪትሙ ራሱ ያመጣሽ የለ it's the same thing
እንደዛ
ሌላ what else is impressive
Andrew Tate
I have my critiques on his speaking skills
I like if we're going to talk about public speakers that may not have the best idea but are good at convincing
it's not even his idea አሁን እኮ ሜንሽን ያረኳቸው ሰዎች people that I consider like genuine vile people ነው ሜንሽን ያረኩት ግን the thing about Andrew Tate ምንድነው Tate is not even about his ideology what is አንገባም ግን the way that he like talking እንትኑ አንዳንድ ጊዜ when you overdo it you realize that you're just trying to be defensive ቅድም ከእንደሰውን ሜንሽን ያረኩልሽ በሻፒሮ ሜንሽን ያረኩት Andrew Tate is like pro max ምክንያቱም ልክ የሆነ የተከራከርን ቀስ ብዬ ዲስማንትል ማድረግ እችላለሁ አንቺ የምትይውን አይደለም አንድሮቴት የሚያደርገው he raises his voice and I'm like bro not in that regard I wouldn't say it's a good public speaking trait ሲቀጥል ደግሞ into a stage አንድሮቴት አውርተው ያውቃሉ mostly podcast ነው comfortable የሆነ setting ላይ ነው
liveዎች ናቸው where they can kick people out where if they disagree and he doesn't have the chance
and now there's not really an audience for me to judge that he might be a good speaker there's no really an audience
the reason I mention him it's not that I admire him for his public speaking skills or even stage like ቀርቦ ለሚያቀርቡ ነገር ሳይሆን the fact that he has convinced so many people of the things that we have taken years to reorganize but I'm surprised ያርገኛል as feminists binnauro as people who believe in human rights binnauro as people who believe that men and women should be considered humans first before they're considered as financial stability or a sexual object ከማለት በፊት ያንን ሁላ ደማምጦ all of a sudden any red pill society is the way to go የሚለውን ያንን ሁላ ሰው ማሳመኑ makes me wonder what are we not noticing
he disowned the red pill by the way like
what do you mean
የሆነ ጊዜ I think ወንድሙ ነው መሰለኝ he was like yeah the red pills are like the red pillars are like autistic ነው ብሏል there's a great schism going on in that let's not even go there I know the content ለረጅም ጊዜ it's not really ምንድነው የሚባለው it kind of like addresses the problems in society then it just poses another problem
it does
so what problems does it address
there are problems that there are genuine problems that men are going through that nobody's addressing at this moment in time
okay.
when it comes to suicidal rate when it comes to the homelessness rate ብዙ problems አሉ especially young men especially men that are raised in parents in a non two parent household in a single parent household ያደና እነዚህ አይነት ወንዶች they typically need guidance the problem is who is giving the guidance ahun okay guidance ተሰጣቸው then it's like red pillars and then you look at these red pillars life they're a mess they're a literal mess ብዙ ነገር preach ያደርጋሉ preach የሚያደርጉትን ነገር apply ያደርጉት then they take advantage of these lonely men so they're part of the problem and causing a newer problem ስለዚህ they address it
like my question remains what problem has red pill ever had like solved
no ለምሳሌ there are certain
the
things
delusion of guidance
no and it's not just that there are certain like actual benefit የሚያደርጉ ነገር አላቸው ለምሳሌ exercise ይላሉ financially independent ሆኖ ብለው ጋይድ ይሰጣሉ በስራ proper የሆነ viable የሆነ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ አፕላይ ያደርጋል ግን ውጭ ሀገር ለሚሰራ ሰው proper የሆነ financial guide የሚሰጡበት situation አለ there are certain things ደግሞ እንደዚህ dating ላይ የሚሰሯቸው ሚስቴኮች እነሱን አድሬስ አድርገው እንደዚህ አታድርጉ ሊሉ ይችላሉ አሁን ፕሮብለም የሚመጣው ፎረም ብለው የሚገርም በቃ like ፖድካስት ያዘጋጃሉ and both sides የሚከራከሩ they're bozos and I'm like you're both shit at what you're talking at expert የሆነ ሰው ካለ expert ያወራ ግን none of you are experts here እና specifically ደግሞ እነሱ የሚያመጡት it's people ለምሳሌ አሁን OnlyFans ሞዴሎች ነው የሚያመጡት and typically OnlyFans models they're not going to argue on እንትን በሆነ መንገድ በተለየ መንገድ ነው argue የሚያደርጉት so በዛ
such a respectful way to put it
it's like and to be honest with you they're all bozos like ቁጭ ብያይቼ is like everybody's stupid it's like dumb and dumber like ምን ያደርግልኛል it's like you know that meme to retards fighting የሚለው that's basically it and for me it's like if you have time to spend watching content there are other things that you should be taking interest in እንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮች ደግሞ there are books ምናምንና proper የሆነ real life ደግሞ ማየት ይኖርብሻል you don't need to read a book or ምናምን to understand life you have to go through it and a lot of young men are confused ከዛ ላይ ኢንተርኔት ነው ያላቸው እንትን I mean young men are always confused then they grow out of it they're not even growing out of it because they're consuming content because of let's not go there
I wait
it's okay Andrew Tate has never convinced anybody of anything new ምንም ቫልዩ ጨምረው አያውቅም እዚህ ዓለም ላይ ምናልባት አትሊት እያለ even then ከኢንተርቴይንመንት ያለፈ ቫልዩ ኖሮት አያውቅም እና ይወዳዩ እንደስ ሄል ለምሳሌሽ the world አንደ ነገር ፌሚኒዝም ሰዎችን ያን ያህል ኮንቪንስ አድርገው የሆነ ዓለምን ለውጣላ ማለት የሚከብድ ነገር ነው አሁንም ገና ይማሩ ብለን እኛ ሀገር እየለመንን ነው በህይወት እንኑር ጾታዊ ጥቃት አይድረስብል የሚል ልመና እያካሄድን ነው አሁንም ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ a lot of countries are still struggling trying to convince their environment their society about this so which means the world is already that way. Convince me convince me. The world already thinks this way. It just needs somebody else to confirm that it's right. He came in very opportune የነበረ ሰዓት ነው. So it went well. And ሁለተኛ it was more about aggravating people and having people to react to them rather than actually being convincing. ለምሳሌ I'll convince a girl that she will love me. ከዛ ከቤተሰቦቿ በሙሉ አይሶሌት አረጋታለሁ ከዛ በኋላ ምናምን ነው ስለዚህ ይሄንን ስትባይ ግማሹ በጣም በመጥፎ ሁኔታ ሪአክት ያደርጋል ግማሹ ደግሞ it's like amazing he's unlocked it no you know what I mean it's not because
the end to that demo when you're like ahun metto like when you claim to help men and the very men that you claim to help are the people that you sell your webcam contents to which is one of the worst things to happen to men if I'm being honest with you one of the worst addictions like so for me it's not something that I like but back to the public speaking part speaking wise I cannot judge him what to publicly akrabo just been on podcasts
even on podcasts no you can poke at it ምክንያቱም
like you get my point though right like አሁን ለምሳሌ
you wouldn't call it public speaking
yeah
you know?
አሁን
it's a studio speaking
yeah አሁን ለምሳሌ ቅድም ከንደሰውንስ Ben Shapiro እና ምስል they go to colleges like 300-400 ሰው ባለበት አሪና ላይ ገብተው ነው የሚያቀርቡት that's public speaking so I think it kind of like beats the purpose of like
considering him
yeah ማለት so አሁን እንደዛ ከሆነ like በጣም ብዙ ቲክቶከር ያለበት ጊዜ ነው but do you consider tiktokers as public speakers but you know you have to there's ራሱን የቻለ realm ስለሆነ ማለት
okay ስለዚህ if they do speak in public regardless of them being tiktokers or not they would be considered public
basically.
speakers okay
presenters generally
yeah okay that's interesting who do we like that is currently who do you like online like this person is really good እና ነጥባቸውም ደስ ይላል and also like I like listening to them ምትሉት ሰዎች አሉ
let our guest take the lead on this one
I don't really listen to speeches as much nowadays typically እንዳልኩሽ ነው የፖድካስት ምናምን ሊሆን ይችላል ማለት ወይም ደግሞ you know stuff እነዚህ content creators make የሚያደርጉት ነገር ነው ግን in terms of performance poetry I love Rudy Francisco በታቁት ከሆነ I don't think እንደሱ አይነት ሰው አይቺ ማቃ ይመስለኝ he's that good እና his performance style አሁን በምንድን ነው የጀመረው የሆነ piece he was talking about እኔና ልጄ ሄደን ሲክንጫወት ነበር እና ደበቅባትና ልክ የምታገኝን ቦታ እንደምታገኙ የምታውቀው ቦታ ነው እንድደበቅ የምትነግረኝ እና I remember like how much I don't miss I remember it made me realize that at least I know my daughter knows where to find me unlike myself below he wrote like a meager example and to start off with such a simplistic and then to deliver it into this deep introspective thoughts it was beautiful like በጣም ነበር የደነገጥኩት I froze በስራት ተልኮልኝ ማለት ነው I appreciate Rudy Francisco Jordan Peterson someone that I listen to a lot በተለይ ሳማሪስ ጋር የሆነ አርጊመንት ዲቤት ነበራቸው ካላያችሁት it's atheist versus theist debate እና it was really interesting 2016 ምናምን I do not remember ግን በጣም በቃ አላ it broke the internet ማለት ይቻላል that side of the internet ምክንያቱም genuinely intellectual የሆኑ ሰዎች ሁለት ሲነጋገሩ በዛ public setting it's really interesting to watch God I'm not prepared mention ለማድረግ
no one more but
there was this psychiatrist he had a few books published ማን ነበር ቀጭን ሰውዬ
ጆናተን ሃይት ሊሆን ይችላል
ይመስለኛል ሽማግሌ very wispy hair
እና like he talks like የሆነ ዶክተር ሶፊስ ውስጥ ያለ ነው the coddling of American mind in ጻፈው ከሆነ it's
not Michael Moore
I don't
yes no he's a documentarian mostly known for Where to Invade Next learn a few of our episodes እና ሁለቱ በጣም ወዳጆች ሰዎች ናቸው
okay that's very interesting so there's this Indian comedian that did this piece about two Indias የሚል piece ነበረ he was talking about the Indian ጥሩ በጥሩ ነገር የሚታወሱባቸው ነገሮችና መደበቅ የሚፈልጓቸው ዳርክ ሳይዳቸው እያነጻጸረ የሚያወራ ፒስ ነበረ he was hit with more than 13 lawsuits ሀገሩ ሲመለስ because of that's a powerful speech
yes
that's what it does so he was hit with that amount of and I heard it and then later like weeks later found out he was getting sued like መንግስት ምናምን ሁላ ሳይ like random ጠበቃ ተነስቶ ሄዶ እንዴት ሀገሬን ምናምን ብሎት በትሪዝን ክስስ ማለት ነውና some of them ተጥለውባቸው ነው እንጂ they would have had more than that number እና I was impressed there's this lady called Esther she writes about relationships monogamy ምን እንደሚመስል ምናምን she has a couple of books
I think I know her የሆነ መጽሐፏን አንብቤ አውቃለሁ መሰለኝ
የትኛው state of the affair
I have no clue like ስሙ ጠፋብኝ ግን like Esther ስሙ ማን ነበር
I forgot her last name
እስኪ እንትን በኋላ ትልክልኛለሽ
yes
I think I know her
anyways I really like her way of speech because
oh yeah I know her
yes
የሆነ አክሰንት አላት
yes she's Belgian or French
she's Belgian እና French speaking Belgian ናት
so my favorite bit about her is she listens very well even if she disagrees with you like she it's like ይሄ የሰማይና የምድር ልዩነት የሚባል አይነት የአይዲዮሎጂ ዲፈረንስ ቢኖርህ ራሱ በደንብ ትሰማና she goes እዚህ ጋር ስለመጣልኝ አመሰግናለሁ and እነዚህ ነገሮች እንደዚህ ናቸው ምናምን ብላ ታስረዳሽ she will do it repeatedly I've seen her like dumb down ideas I've seen her try to work her way around like wordiness interestingness እንግሊዘኛ ዋና ላንጉዌጅ አይደለም ግን she has a few books out in English she'd gone to a lot of shows I think there's this Europe ውስጥ የሆነ show አለ where የሷና የጆርዳን ፒተርሰን ኤፒሶድ በተከታታይ ነው ያየሁት ሁላ I
think እሱ show መሰለኝ ያየሁት ራሱ
yeah
like ያጠናው ማን ነበር ያየሁት randomly ማለት ነውና ከዛ I just like I think it's about like ስለ cheating ነበር ያወራች ነበርና like starting over type of about starting over
after that
yeah and I was like oh this is a really interesting thing
yes she
fidelity
the way she says the words so she's very interesting and I really like her it's the reason I like her again it's because opponent አይደለም ሰው ትሪት የምታረገው ገባሽ የአይዲዮሎጂ ዲፈረንስ ነው and that's that አይነት ነገር ነው the way she approaches things so አትጮህም I've never seen her once be emotional. I've never seen her talk over people. But she's very interesting. I like her very much. Who else do I like? የቀሩት ይጮሃሉ ግን የሚጮሁት ነገር ስለሚያስቀኝ ነው I like Abba in conversations ደስ ይለኛል
very የሚገርም ማለት one of the most weirdest crossover ያጋጠመኝ there is this guy expressions using የሚባል YouTuber ራሱ ነው ይቻላል like የእግር ኳስ ዩቲዩበር ነው ግን he's one of the most hilarious like የሆነ ጊዜ if I randomly find የሆነ እንትን ልክልሻለሁ because like referenceዎቹን ከተረዳሽ he's so hilarious እና ሮድማን ነው እና Abba just got there and he was talking about football now this guy is from Canada and like በደንብ ነው እያወራ ያለው በደንብ ነው የሚያውቀው ምናምን I'm like this guy knows how to speak እና every time ደግሞ Abba ደስ የሚለው ቢፍ ላይ ምናምን በጣም ነው የሚገባው like ብዙ ሰው ቢፍ ያደርጋል ከሱ ጋር how does he handle them እና those things በጣም impress ያደርገኛል so
yeah I've seen him engage with a lot of red pill people a lot of supposedly blue pill የሆኑ ሰዎች ምናምን ሐሳባቸውን በደንብ የሚቀይሩ ሰዎችን engage እንዴት እንደሚያደርግ how he talks about content creation so የ3 hour live-ን ሪከርድ አድርጎ ፖስት አድርጎታል ኮንተንት እንዴት ክሬት ማድረግ እንደምትቺ እንዴት መስራት እንደምትቺ እንዴት engage ማድረግ እንደምትቺ እንዴት ኤዲት like everything is in there and I really like him ማን አለ ሌላ who else is there
አንድ ሰው ሜንሽን ባደርግ ጆርጅ ካርሊን
you okay
he's a comedian
an old comedian
he's a comedian ግን even የሚለው ነገር like I don't even like agree with it that much ግን he's hilarious and not only is he hilarious delivery ከዛ በኋላ the way that he changes his tonality his body language ምናምን you know that the stage is his home
okay if we're going just public speaking and holding people's attentions ምናምን Dave Chappelle I haven't laughed at his this is going to sound off again I haven't really laughed at his specials ka 2019 በኋላ it's been I'm watching it because I think it's important no nji it's not because this is going to be hilarious we say like it's important because the man has things to say he will say it so and the audience and they receive እንደሚያደርገው how he guides people through what he's saying ምናምን So I think a person I have come to respect. Yeah.
Another comedian በጣም impress የሚያደርገኝ in terms of delivery ያለው ማትራይፍ ነው በዚህ ሰዓት.
Really?
ምክንያቱም ኦዲየንሱ typically የሆነ you know how audiences can be dickheads in comedy, right?
Sure.
And not like the way he handles them. It's hilarious. Like it adds more comedic value, no?
Any የማትራይፍ favorite joke and ብቻ ነው I think.
I told you. His comedy I don't really enjoy it that much. I just like his what he does like.
Comedy-wise, people have like Michael Shea. Michael Shea, it's like very calm now. He's not screaming at you. He's not doing anything. He's not giving you like የሚያስደነግጥ ነገር እያለሽ አይደለም. It's just like observation and funny. He's funny. I have found አሁን ለኔ Joko is too much. Do you know Joko? Bald guy.
Joko Willink?
No, Joko is like a Filipino nantan. Okay.
Joko Willink, by the way, is a good speaker.
Okay.
Mention አላረኩት.
Yeah. I think the thing we seem to admire a lot about these great speakers is their patience in delivering what they want to say.
Yes.
And now we didn't mention that.
Yes, thank you for getting there. The respect towards the people audience you're talking to. Yeah, it's very important. I think we've mentioned everybody that we wanted to mention. If not, I'm willing to reprise the conversation. Is there anything you want to add?
No.
Plug your poems እንጂ ምን አስበህ ነው?
ቴሌግራም ግሩፕን ተናገር።
ቴሌግራም ቻናል
ፋይንድ ማድረግ የምትፈልጉ ኢንስታግራም ላይ ኦብዘርቨር ብላችሁ ሰርች አድርጉ። ኦር ደግሞ ረጅም ነው ግን the conscientious observer ብላችሁ ሰርች አድርጉ. I hope you put the link in the description.
Of course.
ቴሌግራም ቻናልም አለኝ። ቲክቶክም አለኝ. The TikTok might be a bit disappointing. So I'm sorry for that. ግን more active የሆንኩት ኢንስታግራም እና ዩቲዩብ ላይ ነው. I also have a Telegram channel. They will place it in the description.
Oh.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode. I would like to thank Taraki for their space and platform. We would like to thank Kale for coming and joining
Thank you for
us. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.